What's up YouTube, this is Twilight Specter and I'm here with a new deck profile for Ghostrick for 2022, and this deck has had a fair bit of support in the last few months, and I have updated the deck profile with the new support, in which I think will help the deck speed up a little bit in my opinion. And I just want to throw out there that this is a pure Ghostrick deck, and it is not in any way, shape or form meant to be going for rogue. It is meant for casual slash gimmicky types of play. And I just wanted to give a quick little talk about where I've been for the last year. In the last year, a lot of things have happened in my life, which is kind of really put my life on a massive downer. I've just not been feeling myself, and I've not uploaded in a year, which really shows a lot. But I'm trying to get back onto schedule. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to do more deck profiles and walkthroughs and playthroughs and all sorts of things like that. So just to give a bit of a summary of where I've been the last year. But anyway, this is Ghostrick 2022 casual, and I'll get on with the deck video. So starting off, we have 3 Ghostrick Lantern. This card is just amazing, honestly. Like, it is just, you just need it for, in my opinion. It's too good not to. I mean, it reads, it cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster, which is a reoccurring thing in every Ghostrick monster, apart from the extra deck. And once per turn, you can change its face down defense position as well, which is another thing that reoccurs on every Ghostrick card. And if your opponent attacks a Ghostrick monster or performs a direct attack, you can activate its effect to negate the attack and then special summon Lantern face down. It's really good. It stops your opponent from trying to attack you directly, protects your monsters, and it's just really, really good. I will always try to run Lantern at 3, unless there is another card that obviously does better than it, but Lantern is just one of the best. Next up we run 3 Twilight Specter. This is probably my favourite Ghostrick artwork because it's so adorable. And it has the same effect of Ghostrick Lantern, which is it can be normal summoned just like every other Ghostrick and can be flipped face down. But this monster has the effect where if a Ghostrick is destroyed by card effect or battle, you can special Spectre face down and draw an additional card. So not only does it replace itself by drawing a card, but it's another body on board that's just puts more plays out there, and also like it's more bodies for your opponents to try and beat over, which is really good. And we run Spectre 3. The next card I run is 2 Mary. So the reason why I run 2 Mary is because 1, the card is very expensive in my opinion, and 2, I've tried to alter the deck. It's very tight in terms of space with monsters. And I think 2 Mary is all I'll ever need in my opinion. Yes, I will argue that it is very versatile, which is if you take any damage, whether it's effect or battle, you can discard Mary and special any Ghostrick from your deck. It's really good, but I think what hinders Mary a little bit is the fact that she's a really, really hard once per turn. And in my opinion, I only ever get 1 Mary off most of the time, because I always have a body on board by the end phase, especially with the new Link monster. So 2 Mary. Next we have 1 Doll. She's good because on the end phase she flips all monsters face down, then you can special summon a Ghostrick from your deck, whose level is equal or less than the monster's flip face down. I used to run her at 2 and 3 once upon a time, but with the new monster she's a bit slow because you can't do a whole lot on the end phase. Yes, she's good for setting up your night plays, but she's just very slow being on the end phase. That effect activates. So that's 1 Doll. Next we have 1 Fairy. Before this support she was the last support Ghostrick got, and she's still really good, but I only ever think you need 1 of her for my build. She has the effect which is when she's flipped face up, you target any Ghostrick card in your graveyard and set it, but when it leaves the field you have to banish it, and then on top of that you can flip monsters face You can change face up monsters your opponent controls or face on defense up to the number of set cards you control. So again, she's kind of like Doll, but you can use on your main phase and she gets your resources. So she's really good, and I really like her at 1. Next card is a gimmick, YUKONNA. Reason, she's cute. While her effect isn't as relevant as it once used to be back in the day, or should I say years ago, she's just a really nice body to have on board, and I just like the artwork too much to pass, and that's mainly the only reason I run YUKONNA. Next we run NEKO MUSUME. This card is still really good. It's funny when you set up and you've got this and for Ghostrick on board, because your opponent, if they have like any monsters that are level 4 or higher, they get set face down. It is so funny watching your opponent just kind of struggle to get over her sometimes, but if they have nothing out for her, it's mostly game most of the time, especially with Ghostrick Knight on board. She's just really good, and when she comes up, she's the VIP of the deck. So that's why we run 1 of her. Next we run 2 Ghostrick Jiangshi. The reason why I run 2 Jiangshi and not 3 is because when I set up a board, I want at least 1 Jiangshi so I can get my search of monster effects every time. If she wasn't hard ones per turn, I would definitely run 3, but being hard ones per turn, I've run out 2, because most of the time you'll want 1 on board just for the search power anyway. And as I say, her effect is that basically when she's flipped face up, count the number of Ghostricks you control and then add any Ghostrick monster whose level is equal or less than the number of Ghostricks you control. So you search for a deck. And she's got a decent defense at 1800. Next up we have Ghostrick Skeleton. Skeleton is such a gimmick. He has the effect that when he's flipped face up, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's main deck face down up to the number of Ghostricks. So Ghostrick Mill is so funny, watching your opponent lose all their deck and all their resources into the banisher, and it's basically running like Pot of Desires, except your opponent doesn't get to draw for it, they just lose their cards. Again, really good card, and I'm not running the mill deck, this is just a generic Ghostrick all-around deck. But I still run Skeleton at 1 because it's just really good. Next we run STEIN. Ghostrick STEIN I feel is much better now, especially because the new Link monster that Konami has brought out. Basically, if he inflicts any battle damage in any way, you can add any Ghostrick card from your deck to your hand. And with the new Link, that ability just is more worth using these days because it's so much easier to inflict damage with STEIN, which is why we run him at 1. Next, I run 1 Ghoul. Ghoul is good because if your opponent has a bigger monster on board and you've got plenty of Ghostricks, this monster can target any Ghostrick and you combine all the attack of all Ghostricks and put it on that 1 monster. But that monster can only attack. So it's good for pushing for damage directly. It's also good for beating over a big monster, and that is exactly why I run Ghoul. In case a monster is unaffected by card effects, you just beat over it. Next we run 1 Mummy. Mummy is really good too because it grants you an additional normal summon for a Ghostrick. And that is basically it, but he helps speed up the deck a little bit, which is why we run him. Next for the new monster we run 2 Ghostrick SIREN. She is amazing. I'm glad she is not a hard once per turn, and I'm glad she's not a soft once per turn. Even if that was the case, I don't think it matters too much in Ghostrick, but basically, when she's normal summoned or flip face up, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then if a Ghostrick card was sent, you can add any Ghostrick spell trap from your deck, or change an effect monster your opponent controls to face down defense. She's really good. The deck needed this. They needed more search, they needed easy search, they needed nil, they needed faster resource management, and that is exactly what she does. She's really good, definitely at 2. So that rounds up all the monsters for the deck, and honestly yes, it is a fairly monster heavy, but once you've set up the deck just becomes really fun to control and to watch your opponent kind of suffer. Next we have spells, and this is a given. We've run 3 Ghostrick Shot. This card is I can't even begin to describe it. It is so good for Ghostrick. It has been needed for such a long time. And it allows you to special my Ghostrick from your hand or graveyard. It is a monster reborn for Ghostrick. I am so happy. And not only that, but you can then change your face down Ghostrick monster face up. So if you have Siren on board, you get a search. If you have Doll, monster go to face down. If you have Juncture, you get a search. If you have Skeleton, you get more nil. It's too good. You have to run it free. And it has a graveyard effect, which is you can banish it to target a Ghostrick XZ you control and attach a Ghostrick card from your graveyard's material. So it's just good. It's good. You can put your XZs back on it and get more resource management. It's amazing. Next, we run 2 Ghostrick Mansion. People are going to be wondering why I'm not running 3. The reason being, Ghostrick Mansion is still, in my opinion, the best field spell for them, because it essentially gives you double your life points. It halves any battle damage and effect damage that's not inflicted by Ghostricks. And the reason why I run 2 is because I also run 1 Museum. With the new Limb monster, I feel Parade is obsolete completely. And the reason for that is because Parade makes it so your opponent takes no battle damage. New Limb monster makes it so if you have a Ghostrick field spell, any Ghostrick can attack directly. And if you have Parade, it means you do nothing to them. And we don't want that, so Museum I feel is a better replacement. And it also lets you flip monsters face down, so like you can use Shot to get them back up again. And it's the same for your opponent, you can flip them face down. And I just think it's more relevant, especially with how Ghostricks are going these days. Next we run A Lot of Darkness. Dark deck, draw power, lots of monsters, you need it. Search for the piece you need, search for the Ghostrick you need, and banishing one of your Ghostricks isn't that much of a hindrance. Unless it's Skeleton. I'm just joking. Next we run to Ties of the Brethren. This card is amazing in Ghostrick. If you have a level 1, get 2 more from your deck. If you have a level 2, get 2 more from your deck. It sets with your board, it flips them face down and gets your resources, it builds your boards up, and that's what Ghostrick need, and this card helps with definitely building that board up, especially turn 1. And that's why we run it at 2. And that's also why we run plenty of level 2s, just so we always have a target for it. Next we run Upside Goblin. The deck needs draw power. This card is essentially a 3+1 and Ghostrick always deal a lot of damage directly, so yeah, Upside Goblin, definitely. Next we run Attack, which is Flawless Perfection of TENYI. This card is amazing in Ghostrick. And basically, the top effect, the first effect is irrelevant because it doesn't do anything for Ghostrick, but the second effect, once per turn, if your opponent's special summons an effect monster where you control a face down monster, you can draw 2 cards. This card in Ghostrick is nuts. It gives you +2 every time your opponent special summons a monster. Like every turn, it's amazing. And next we run 1 Monster Reborn. What can I say? Helps speed up the deck, helps get your resources, and if your opponent has a nice boss monster, why not steal it? And that's it for spells. Next we run 3 Ghostrick Scare. Scare, still a really good card, non-target, flipping your opponent's monster's face down. It's too good. I love this card too much. And we run it 3 because we want to see it. We want to start shutting down our opponent's board as much as we can. Sadly, still no support against links, but hey, we can beat over them or we can beat around them directly. It is what it is, but I'm not complaining, this deck is so much fun. Next we have Break. Again, card probably not much is used now, but I still run it at 1 because an exactly 1 face-up Ghostrick monster is destroyed by battle card effect. You can special summon 2 Ghostricks from your graveyard face down. It's just nice to have that resources back. If your opponent pops 1, you get 2 back, so it can help sometimes when you need it. But sometimes I will say I do brook with it because I don't have enough monsters in the graveyard at a game. Next we want to go around. It's a basically once per turn scare during the battle phase. It's handy because it does combo with some pieces too, which is why I like it. And yeah, that's why I only run it at 1 because 2 is just overkill. Last but not least, we have Ghostrick Knight. This card is a VIP when it comes up with NEKO's MUSUME. Basically, when a Ghostrick is faced on the field, your opponent cannot flip summon. So now monsters go face down, they're not coming back up. But if they do get rid of Knight, it means your opponent cannot declare any attack for the rest of the turn. So it's nice. You have to keep the monsters face down most of the time, or they cannot attack if they get rid of it. So it's really nice. So that is a 40 card deck for Ghostrick. And I've had this deck for many years. And yeah, I love it so much. I really do. It's one of my favourite decks of all time. Just FYI, this is a Toga Kirishima mat. It's my favourite mat. I always take it to locals, and honestly, it always makes me smile. It always brings me good luck, and I just love the deck. The play mat so much, sorry. But next on to extra deck. Now, yes, the extra deck isn't very, there's not much variety, but it is a pure deck. So, the Link Monster, Ghostrick Festival. This card is fantastic. It really is. It's a Link 1, and it only requires one Ghostrick monster, but here's the kicker. You can use any face-down Ghostrick monster as material too, it don't have to be face-up, which is so what the deck needed. And it has a second effect, which is that if you have a Ghostrick field spell in the field zone, all Ghostricks can attack directly. Oh, thank God this exists. Honestly, it helps the deck massively with their game plan. It really does, and they really need it. And its third effect is that if your opponent targets or declares an attack, you can discard special any Ghostrick from your deck. Again, you send this, get your Ghostrick. I mean, it's just so good, honestly. You need to run it at 3, in my opinion. It's so good. Next, we run 3 DullAhan. DullAhan is more or less a beat stick for the deck in a way. You gain some attack for each Ghostrick card on your field, and you can detach material during each place turn to half a face-up monster's attack. He's really good because he has a graveyard effect too, which is if he's sent to the graveyard by any means, you can add any Ghostrick card from your graveyard to your hand. Always run DullAhan at 3, he's so useful. Next we run 2 Succubus. Again, this card, the rank 2 Ghostrick, can go into Angel of Mischief, and she's just really cute, and she's got a decent effect, which is your opponent cannot attack that card for attacks, and also you can destroy a card monster your opponent controls with attack equal or less than the combined amount of Ghostrick attack on your field. And if you do, they can't use that monster zone for as long as you control a Ghostrick monster. So she's really handy at blocking your opponent's zone. Sadly, not the extra monster zone, which would have been amazing. Next, we run 3 ALUCARD. He pops a set face card, and he has the same effect of DullAhan, which is if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add any Ghostrick card from your graveyard to your hand. And your opponent can't target any Ghostrick monsters for attacks, apart from, they can only attack ALUCARD. It's really good, but 1800 attack, he's not going to be sponging a lot, really. And the last card we run is Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. She's incredible. She is a must-have to get on the board as fast as possible. She searches any Ghostrick spell trap. She has 2500 defense. She can XE summon herself using any Ghostrick XE. You can attach a Ghostrick card as material for her, and if you have 10 materials on her, you win a duel, which sometimes does come up, which is kind of funny. And that is Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. And the last card I run is just the Sylvan Princess Sprite. I rarely ever go into her, but that excavation for a spell trap can be nice sometimes if you get the right card. And that's it. That is the Ghostrick deck profile. Like I say, it is a pure build. Like, I'm not expecting it to be like amazing or meta or anything. It is a purely casual deck, and it's not meant to be up there with pro level. It's just a fun casual build, and I really enjoy it. It's fun when I use it against my friends. It's always a blast, and it's always a good time to use. So thank you all for watching my deck profile, and honestly, I'll be uploading more deck profiles and more gameplay. I have got another deck coming up soon, and it is my pro level deck, I'll say. I won't spoil it because I want it to be a surprise, but thank you all for watching. Leave any comments or any suggestions in the comments below for ideas, or fun builds for Ghostrick, and if you're a Ghostrick lover, tell me what your favourite card in Ghostrick is. But thank you for watching, honestly, and yes, I will be, again, uploading more regularly. And just, if you ever want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards or anything in general, reach out to me on my Instagram or leave a comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and that's Twilight Specter out.